constantly repeat myself.
All right, good. And everyone, welcome to another episode of the new Real Estate Roadmap. We got a guest today, a super friendly guest today. Her name is Allyson Sullivan. She's going to give an introduction to herself in just a minute. Before she does so, of course, we're joined with co-host,
the one and only Jen Konikoff.
And I'm
JK.
Alex Mendel.
AM. Alex, you're looking good today, bro.
Thank you. I just got a haircut a week ago. It's time for another one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about.
I couldn't notice it past your gorgeous, gorgeous headphones.
Oh, those. Yeah, I was trying to. It's my daughter's headphones. I left mine at my office, so I'm at my home office today.
So because this is a podcast and people can't see you unless they're watching on YouTube. By the way, find us on YouTube. Alex is watching. He's rocking a little girl's headset.
Well, you know what? I think they're not gender specific. There's a little bit of blue in here, a little bit of green. So.
And where are you, by the way? You're not in your normal spot.
Oh, I'm in my home office.
Is that a bed behind you?
That is a bed.
At your home office?
It used to be my office. And then we added a bed because we needed a guest room. So here we are.
You should put a sheet on that bed.
That's a duvet.
just don't lean all the way back and go extra chill mode.
I might bring the computer over to the bed. You never know.
So Allison, what you don't know about Alex, we actually had to move our podcast time earlier because we were doing these at 2, and he's like an old man. He would fall asleep literally in a middle conversation, and then he'll just slowly like melt down.
First of all, it was because my ADHD medication be wearing off at that point, so I'd be knocking out. And I asked you guys, let's move it to here, so I'm fully zoned and not yawning and not one eye open. Especially, never mind. I don't want to bring that up.
Well, when he goes to the training, like sometimes I'll teach trainings in person. He's always like snoozing or like, just playing Candy Crush on his phone, and he doesn't realize how that hurts my feelings so much.
It's solitaire.
It's solitaire. I'm not as exciting as solitaire. Anyways, we keep talking about Allison. We don't even mention who she is.
Let's introduce her.
So Allison, who are you?
Hi, I'm Allyson Sullivan. I'm a realtor in East Delray Beach. I got my real estate license in 2002, and I've just been selling real estate for a long ass time.
That's right.
You've been in the game. So Allison, kudos to you, because I don't meet or talk to many people who's been in it longer than me. I started in 2005. So you went through that rapid acceleration of equity, and then that rapid decline with BPOs, REOs, and that whole game. That was fun.
So I actually got my real estate license right after September 11th. So I was in that depressed market, which was a tough market that people don't always talk about because obviously 06, 07, 08 kind of overshadows for sure as way worse of a market. But yeah, so I kind of got started 2002, 2003 was kind of the start of the renaissance of downtown Delray Beach. I sold a lot of new construction in 2002, 3, 4. And then a lot of people bought as investments to rent them out, or, young professionals who bought them and now have, got married, moved out to the suburbs. So I started kind of farming, marketing myself in East Delray Beach, downtown, way back when, and then it's just kind of stuck. So I try my best. I know some realtors spread themselves out more, like throughout, we were talking about Alex and I are in Palm Beach, you guys are in Broward. I will go to Boca. I don't often. I try to keep my market small as East Delray Beach, Boynton.
Let's unpack that. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
So,
no, she found you have a niche. Your niche is that
a niche.
Yeah, is it niche or niche?
I don't know. Tomato.
There's
Which way is
like
it?
a big controversy. Niche.
Well,
niche?
I don't know. I heard that there are riches in the niches, so it works that way.
Yeah, you can't say riches in the niches.
Yeah.
Well,
needless to say, Mama's got it. So tell us more about it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where I wanted to go to. So us three here, we work business where it does spread us out everywhere. But you hyper localized to East Delray. So are you farming? Like, how's that work? How's that working?
Yeah, so I mean, I've done all the things. Obviously, I've, been in this for a little while. I've been through really good times and really bad times, and I have, spread myself at times. But my goal has been, my personal thought is my best source of business comes from past client referral, sphere of influence. And my second best becomes maybe being an area expert in a certain demographic area. So I've chosen East Downtown Delray, East Boynton, as my area, and I try my best to, be there most of the time to accompany my listings or, eat, work, sleep, play here, all the things.
Yeah, so you're just fully in, not engulfed. That's not the right word.
Yeah,
Fully,
engulfed. You can
is that the
get
right word?
engulfed in flames sometimes, but
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's
some
what's
days
amazing
I'm
about real
engulfed in
estate.
flames, some days I'm engulfed in townhomes and condos.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Well, I always feel like we're engulfed in flames sometimes in this market. But that's the amazing thing about real estate. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat. The way we do it on our, I don't know, like Alex is not on the team, so I'm not too sure exactly what he does, but he does similar than us. We're all about database management growth to a select core people. And when you're working, oh, there's a dog.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh.
I
Hey,
think I
hey,
have a
bud.
dog back there too. Look.
This is
There-
Logan, everybody.
For everyone who's listening, the dog literally just conveniently jumped on his bed and he's just staring at the camera.
So definitely go on the YouTube and watch this.
He was like, "Hello." He likes your Duval.
Mhm.
Oh, God.
So look, it's just staring at the camera. Anyway, oh, can you hear me if I talk loud enough?
No.
You're gonna bust Alex's
The headphones.
eardrum. Hello.
But anyways, yeah. So when you do a database model, which is, in my opinion, the best model. I mean, I'm not biased at all, but it does spread you out everywhere. I mean, I have listings right now in Westing up to Wellington. It's all over the place. But that's just what happens when you just work your database because your database moves. Your database doesn't stay in one spot. So
Well,
it's
the
interesting that you
referrals
tend to
they
conquer
have
that
friends
market.
in different areas as well. You're not always gonna have
That's
people
true.
who are just friends with people that are in Coral Springs or just in Delray.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Have
true.
you have you been able to keep like a steady pipeline even through your focus in that East Delray?
So 100%. So
Awesome.
one of the things that I've done also because I'm just not like I'm just getting old and tired, we'll call it.
That's fair.
Just a
Um,
number. Just a
is
number.
I have a team of folks who work with me, work under me. I don't really advertise or market myself as a team, but like for example, I sold a house in East Delray about a year or two ago. The seller reached out. They moved up north and they miss being in South Florida. They were boaters. He's like, we really want a condo, and it's not exactly in the area that I like to work. So I referred it to someone on my team, and she actually went under contract with them over the weekend, and they're, making escrow today. So I have like a team contract with that agent that I'll, get some type of referral, and then she's happy to get the lead. And the girls that I have on my team are hungry and they're, more willing to spread out.
No,
I
awesome.
feel
You're
like
you're, lev-
sometimes
you're leveraging.
realtors leave things on the table sometimes. And I kind of found as I was trying to hyper focus myself into the one area, I felt like I was leaving crumbs on the table,
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Mm.
Yeah,
So I came up with a solution that's like a team concept, even though it's not like a traditional team.
you have a bench.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that you make a really good point. So Allison's been in the game for a while, and so listen to experience. When we hear from a lot of agents, they don't want to let anything go. It can be like like an investor who doesn't who's never invested before, and they want to invest in these duplexes and all over the place with a certain cap rate or whatever. And real estate agents get into the game, they just want to take every difficult challenge. They don't want to
Yeah,
fear
the
of
buyer
losing
you
a
just
deal.
described could be a full-time job. Like
Yeah.
that to me
Oh my God,
sounds
yeah.
like so exhausting.
Well, what
But
do
like the
yeah, go
girls on my team would be delighted to work with somebody like that, and they would drive to Port St. Lucie. the same girl that I was talking about, the one under contract today, recently she sold a condo in East Boca, a listing, and then sold the lady a house in Port St. Lucie. Like, I never would have had the time or
No.
energy
Yeah.
to go.
But you did
that
at one
far.
point, Allison.
I did it. Oh God,
Yeah, So let's not think that
slammed
you
it
and I
all
are
over
speaking
town.
bougie here.
Well, you're strategically making these moves, leveraging the people on your team while they're expanding their business. You're expanding your business while leaving less crumbs on the table, and really maximizing all of your day. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. It's just how we leverage those hours. So it sounds like you're maximizing through and through. Kudos.
Yeah,
So
and what I just said is like incredibly hard to wrap your head around, like, because usually most realtors, like, and I know I for definitely think this, like, I could definitely do a better job than anybody else I know. Like, I think I'm so good at, I always answer my phone. I'm good. So for me to pass on somebody who already has come to me and said they want to buy or sell something with me, and I'm putting it in someone else's hands, like that, for most people, they can't even wrap their head around like passing something off,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be hard that's hard for me. That was hard for me when I first got a transaction coordinator. I was like,
oh hell yeah, I haven't.
But
that's
yeah. But
You're like, I have to let this
super
go.
hard.
I know.
Yeah,
it's because
still
we
feel
think
like you can do it better.
you can do it better. You think you can do it better, but the
Yep.
truth be told is there are people who can do it maybe not better, but just as good. Right. And then you could focus on other things. There's a girl that I've been mentoring for a while. She's not a top producing agent, but to this day, she won't hire an admin and she needs one, and she'll go anywhere and do anything from Miami to this. And I'm like, girl, you're in your 40s now. Like, you got a lot of kids now. Don't you want to just focus on what don't you want to grow out of that? You're going to be 60 years old doing that, 70 years old doing that. At some point, you just, if you're lucky and you stay in the game long enough, you grow your business to a point where you realize that there's a thing called leverage. And leverage is far more valuable than holding on to every crumb that lands on your plate,
Totally.
So.
And that's something that I've like, it's hard, but it's something that I've really tried to hone in on. Cause I mean, the last thing I want to be is like 85 years old, trucking around town,
Yes.
It's my biggest fear.
Because you have to
my
versus
biggest
want
fear.
to. It's one thing if you want to stay active, but the have to and being 85 years old, pushing to Miami because you have a showing, no thank you.
Yeah, but let's be real about it, though. All of us here are very, very lucky. If you look at the stats, it's about 1% of total real estate agents are quote unquote successful in this game, meaning they earn more than $50,000 per year. So we're speaking at a level where we've been in this for a long time. And most real estate agents, they leave by their fifth year. I think it's 86 or 87%. So if you are
that long.
Yeah, I know. Well, officially leave, meaning they don't re-up their license.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so if you're a newer agent, you happen to be listening, just know it. Like, this isn't HGTV. It's a very hard game. As a matter of fact, if we compare this to small businesses, I don't have the exact stat, but the small businesses, it says my internet's unstable. Do you see it?
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back. Okay. So most small businesses fail too, but I think 3% are successful. Isn't it 3%? Something like that. It's either 3 or 5. We're 1%. So people enter this game because they feel it's easy and they're gonna get rich quick, which very few actually do. And then they realize that it's not the case and they go back out. And I'm not saying that to scare anyone who may be listening. I see that's an opportunity, because when something's challenging, it's an opportunity, and most people are going to quit. So the people you're seeing in the rooms next to you, in the classrooms next to you, just look around. They're probably out of it in the next couple of years. You just stick with the time over task, put your head down and focus. And then you'll get to a point like an Allison or a Jen or Alex, and even myself, where we're handing off business because there's just too much business for us to handle. And the truth be told, we're old and we need a nap at 2. So we can't take them out at 2:00 anyways.
Very true.
Speak for yourself on that nap. But no, when I joined Chris's team, from
Our
being
team.
our team, when I joined the Homes by Kuzi team, there I go. It took me a while to really adapt to the concept of leveraging and time and being efficient with everything. And it was like a real mind, like I had to really like shift my perspective. It wasn't that I was letting my client down. It wasn't that I was handing them off. It's I I could continue to better serve them while also doing other tasks. So I think that was just a mindset shift, right?
Mhm.
Which was
Yeah.
hard.
When people confuse the team thing, and I know we talk about the lot on this podcast, but think about this right now, Jen. Right now, you have someone folding mailers for you in the other room and stuffing them and stamping them, right? Not stuff that you wouldn't ever get to. And just that extra task alone that you're not even paying for, the team is paying for, is going to generate your business on the back end. That's called leverage. But a lot of people just like, no, I'm going to do all my marketing. I'm going to do all my appointments and all, I'm going to do everything, all my transactions. But you get to a point where you're sacrificing what you're really good at, and you're sacrificing inbound business because you're already focusing on the business that you currently are working. For example, you'll see like when it gets really slow, all of a sudden you're doing all this marketing, right? To get business. And then you got all this business and now you stop doing all the marketing. You stop doing all those pieces. And then all of a sudden you stop doing all the marketing. So your business 3-4 months out is going to suffer. And then you crash back down and again. So when you're on a team right now, you have multiple people, if you have the good team working, stuff like that for you in the back end. So you don't have to think about it. Speaking of which, think about this right now. This podcast is giving, Jen, she's on the team. She's giving her leverage because now this is going to go on YouTube. Then she's going to have Instagram, TikTok clips of it. She's going to be on people's ears and growing her business that way. So now you're actually marketing two different ways at the same time by leveraging a team. And that's what people forget. It's like, you're not giving up deals. You're not giving up money. You're seeing the value in other things besides those individual deals. Would you rather have 50% of a watermelon or 90% of a grape? Right?
I think you said that in our first meeting, actually.
That's my favorite analogy.
And Allison, real quick. So we're talking about marketing. Have you had to shift your marketing at all from, I mean, I'm assuming, I know the answer, but share with us, have you like shifted your marketing from, let's say, in 2011 to now, or even 3 years ago to now? Have you had to move things around?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, so, I mean, the
Like, I know the answer, but share with us.
Yeah, so I mean, so back in my early days, I mean, this was before scanners. I mean, like I didn't scan contracts.
Yeah.
I sat next to a fax machine in the office, like waiting for things to come through. And the real estate contract, the FAR Florida Association of Realtors contract, was only 4 pages long. So, I mean, yes, things have drastically changed for me since I've been in the business. The social media, like I know you were saying you were going to talk a little bit about social media. I mean, who would have ever thought like advertising on something like a MySpace, which is basically where we're at.
Allison, you went to
MySpace for your real estate business, So yes, I mean, my business has changed drastically. My marketing tactics have changed drastically. Something that I've done like over the years, I work for a national speaker. I work as one of his coaches. So I coach realtors like throughout the country. And something that I do with my clients and myself is every year I look at what I spend in advertising and marketing and like what the return was on it to like see if things are actually working for me. And I mean, you can even, I don't do it more at this point. I kind of know what works and what doesn't. But I've switched things up like a million different ways and tried all kinds of things that didn't work. And,
Well, what didn't work?
Trial and error.
Yeah. What didn't work?
If it doesn't come to mind, go with what works and then work backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I'll tell you what is working for me. So like I mentioned, I like to market. I think for me personally, my best sources of business are my past clients' sphere of influence. So I have like a heavy sphere of influence marketing program through postcards, like a direct mail marketing, CRM. I make sure all of my sphere is on my social media. And then most of my sphere lives in my demographic area, which is my second, best source of business. So I heavily market myself through direct mail, magazine, and then I use social media to kind of leverage like being the expert of like who knows the best local restaurant to go to, or I try to go out in my demographic area, my target market, and be seen and be someone that people call when they want to know, where's the best Chinese food or sushi or, whatever.
That's the way to do it.
And do you have a system in place to how many times you're going to touch each person per year?
My systems regrettably suck.
That's not uncommon in this game.
I'm not amazing at everything, but I do have systems. I have a assistant who helps me with my systems, which I was an art major for like 5 years in college, so I'm very artsy, which is like has made me, I'm an ADHD scattered person, so my organizational skills are not the greatest. But I'm likable, I'm fun, people want to give me a call. So
are you friendly?
Friendly, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about this. I wasn't involved.
Let's get involved. Let's do it.
I'm not bitter at all.
Oh, let's do this. So Alex decided to start a group conversation and leave you out, Jennifer. Son of a gun.
Sorry.
With Allyson Sullivan here. And I don't know how it got to it, but she said something like, your friendly slogan is stupid or something.
I did not say that.
Oh, I'm going to scroll and I'm going to find this. Let's do it.
I said, how can you claim to be friendly if you've been in real estate so long? Something like that.
No.
Interpretation has been left on the table. Clearly.
Oh. This is what it says. She sent her email, which is a Hotmail email, Miss 2002 Realtor.
Right. I said, nothing's perfect over here.
And she goes, don't laugh at my Hotmail. It's OG. I was like, I said I was about to make fun of it. Then you told me not to. And she goes, okay, fine. Then I won't make fun of the friendly realtor thing. That's what you said. It's like, fine.
You forgot that we did a deal together last year. I forget nothing. So I'm like, what do they say? Like a memory of an elephant or something? I think that's the term.
Yeah, an elephant.
So I have an amazing memory. And I do recall that we did a deal together last year. And I recall that my TC was like, what's up with this guy with this I'm friendly?
It worked.
Conversation about it, like it's definitely gets people's attention. If that's the goal, it's working. So we were like, I don't know, that's like a weird thing for a realtor just because like, like it's hard to be friendly all day when you're a realtor, I don't know. Maybe
but our email tagline, if you see my email, it probably says always parentheses, usually friendly. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So no, you can be friendly in real estate. I can explain it. Basically it was, the story is basically pretty simple. I know you're gonna get bored, but it's like
I want to hear this. Can you give me the quick version?
Yeah, this is super quick. I definitely can't get wordy. No, that's not my style. Okay. So, anyways, no, because listen, Allison, and actually all of us here, Jen and Alex, is like when so often realtors will call or we'll call them, and like or during the process of a transaction, they get freaking nasty, like for no reason whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's insecurity. I don't know if they're again defensive and they don't know how to communicate like a human. I don't know what it is.
But so you're better than everybody. That's usually what it is.
I was gonna go with high horse.
Yeah.
I think, but high horse just masks insecurity. You know what I mean? Because if you're really confident in your game, you don't treat people like shit. You just don't. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so and also with clients too, they would also call like random, like, you're like the third agent I called and they're not so nice. You've probably heard this. You're the only one who picked up and you're the only one that was like really friendly. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make that a tagline. Call me, I'm friendly. And it, and it wasn't like something I expected to stick, but people gravitated towards it and it works, There's more to that, but you told me to give you the Cliff Note version.
I like it. So, no, I like it. Now,
but do you?
You didn't even remember that you did a deal with me, and
No,
I did.
Yeah, that's not too friendly of you.
Because
No.
I don't have anything in the middle
Usually.
of my name that makes it unique, maybe.
Well, that goes back to the
too.
team leveraging thing. So when we do a transaction, I'm very hands off most of the transactions, unless I'm needed to go in there and put out fires. Or in your situation, I was going back through our text because I wanted to confirm that I was friendly with you in our conversation, and I very much was. Anyways, but like in our situation, I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Was when someone on the team was getting something confused, and you asked me to come in and just fix it, and I did. So. But that's the point of leveraging admins and TCs and stuff, is that you're so out of it unless you're needed. Your strong suit as an experienced agent is to solve those complicated situations, not worrying about if escrow was made. You know what I mean? So you kind of you forget because you're not really in it. I only saw your name probably twice.
I never remember the addresses after like a week.
Yeah,
that's my.
I have a really good recollection of addresses and what things sold for. I don't know, like just maybe because I have no life other.
The Rain Man of real
estate
estate over here.
Allison, do you have kids? Can I ask that?
I do. I have a 16-year-old son.
Okay, so one a teenager.
One teenager, yeah.
So when he was, we're gonna call him Spiff. When Spiff was like 3 or 4 years old, or whatever. Imagine 6 or 7 Spiffs or 5 Spiffs running around, plus your work stuff. Your brain, like your human brain, naturally goes to what is it's like survivor mode, right? That's what you retain, enter. So what I'm saying is, I have 5 kids. I have I think it's like 12 or 13 people on the team, and then I have 106 coaching clients. So it's just constant, and my clients too, constant bombarding. So for me at this age, in my my early 20s, I'm starting to forget that things like addresses and dates and names and stuff like that, because those aren't the big dominoes. I had an argument with
you have 5 kids. How'd that happen?
That's impressive, right?
I mean,
there are ways
tell
to
you,
stop that before it happens.
Do you guys want me to demonstrate? So no, but so
We're okay.
Anyway, so I actually, when I went out to get water, see, this is when this show gets off the rails. I went to go get water, and my wife was out in the kitchen. I almost did, because my wife looked really good today, and I'm like, "You look good," and I'm like, "I'm gonna go in the garage." And by the way, I'm in the garage because our newest baby kicked me out of the home office. It became a nursery.
What are the ranges of your children's age?
My oldest is 13, boy. Then I have twin girls who are 11. And then a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old, or 1.5-year-old. So yeah, it's a lot. But
very
but it's a lot.
You got all the ages.
It's probably wrong, John.
Well, I know the girls are 11 because Mila is 11. They were born like a week apart, I think, or like a few days.
Yeah. Yep. So you get into survivor mode and how your brain works and what you remember and don't remember at this point. I'm hoping that I can remember those things that you remember later on. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I just partied too much in my 20s, so I have no brain cells left.
All that vodka killed them
among
all.
other things. Yeah.
No.
Oh, tell us more, Alex. What are those other things?
I used to rave a lot when I was 20. That's about it.
Alex was a fist pumper.
Were you really?
So was I. I mean, I still am.
I was.
Did you have pacifiers and go to clubs?
Nah, it was just gum. This is going off the rails.
No. See, this is what they don't care about NAR settlement agreements and how long we've been in real estate. They care about you, Alex, raving and doing stuff. So
looking like an owl in the corner.
Can we just talk about how the most exciting music is now being played at Target or Publix, and I'm over here like, dang, it's my jam. I'm over here pulling things off the shelf, enjoying myself because I don't club anymore, but I love to dance.
Biggie was on the oldie station the other day.
Oh no, that hurts my soul.
Mm-hmm. My wife listens to the oldie station because it plays 90s music, and Biggie came on when I went in the car.
90s is a Halloween costume now.
Oh,
that's what.
What's the costume?
It's like,
Alex at a rave.
With the pink and teal headphones?
Yeah, exactly. This is actually perfect. And a Walkman.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Allison. I don't think she realized what she walked into.
Yeah.
All right, let's get professional.
Okay.
So, NAR settlement. You guys want to talk about that?
No, it's not nearly as exciting.
Oh yeah.
Allison. Well, no, right. Go ahead, Jen.
Well, no, I was going to ask. So, like, obviously, you've been through some heavy market shifts. Any advice for the newbies that are walking into this market right now?
Funny, somebody posted something on Facebook, like advice for a new realtor, and there was an Inman, which Inman is like a real estate newspaper that you can subscribe to. I'm a subscriber. There was an Inman article about like advice for newbies. And I would say my number one pet peeve for newbies, and I've mentored realtors over the years, and I would say this is like my super annoying thing is when you're in real estate and you are calling or texting another realtor or initiating communication, always disclose first, last name, and who you work for. Like calling and just being like, hey, this is Joe. Is your rental listing available October 1st? I'm like, hey, Joe, are you in real estate? He's like, yeah, I'm a realtor. It's like, oh, okay, Joe. Hey, do you have a last name? Yeah, so I think that it's very important to always disclose. I think when you're in real estate, it's like a badge. Like you have to say my first name, my last name, and who I work for every time you communicate with another realtor. It's like a dead giveaway that you're new.
This is an interesting. I'm actually very interested in talking about this, but I want to hear Alex's pet peeve for newer or discount realtors, because they're on the same page of quality.
Oh my God! All these people that are let's talk discount brokers. If you actually look at all their numbers, they expire more than they actually sell, and then you look at the numbers and how much of a price difference there is from list price to sales price. You see that they probably didn't actually save that much money, and
that's interesting. Someone should look at those numbers up and present them in the next podcast, Alex.
What Alex just said is very interesting. Just to piggyback off that, something that I've been saying all of 2024 and why I think 2024 has been an incredibly difficult year for many realtors, especially the newer COVID realtors, like the people who got in, 2019, 2020 and rode out that great market and the low interest rates. Not only are the interest rates higher, but this year it has been very difficult to convince a seller to price their home properly.
Correct.
And if you don't have the good skills and you take a listing just for the sake of taking a listing, then you will probably get a listing that will be expired. Yep. And you will probably run around chasing your tail for 6 months trying to figure out how to get this listing sold. So something that I did this year, which was actually kind of nice, was I walked away from a lot of, people in my demographic called me to list their house. They weren't really realistic or ready. And I just was like, I don't know if I really want to do this with you for 6 months, and they listed with, Joe Schmo who did it for cheaper and took it at the overpriced price. Yep. And poor Joe Schmo now 6 months later. And then I'd just sit back and like sip my coffee and have like a slow morning and be like, that listing still hasn't freaking sold. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have alerts set up for myself.
Not at the price I told them to be at, So that was like 2024, I think, for a lot of realtors who, maybe weren't as confident in their skills as like we are, So,
well, what you're referring to, for those who may not be in the know, is during the COVID years, Jen calls them the unicorn years. I love it. Is that you can literally put a post-it note in any price on a house and it would sell. And so it didn't take much skill. And one of my favorite thing during that is I'll see new real estate agents or just rookie, I don't know, I'll just say new real estate agents, and you'll see them posting on social media, 10 grand over asking in 3 days. Like they did something amazing. Pretty much they just rode the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was it? What's the quote? When the tide rises, all boats float, right? Or something like that. So you just rode the tide. You didn't do anything challenging. But now when you did a market shift like now, where days on market are high, sellers have FOMO. They're still looking at what sellers got a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they want that now. And the market just doesn't account for that. And they want to sell in a week because their neighbor sold in 1 day 2 years ago, they still have that memory of that time, and they have FOMO. They're like, I want that back. But you can't. It's like an ex-girlfriend who doesn't want you back. You just gotta let her go, Elsa, let her go.
So specifically, I wanna talk about
First
that and
love,
comparing the markets.
Second wife, third realtor. Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
No, what was it?
Say it again.
First love, second wife, third realtor.
That's a good one too.
What am I missing?
Yeah.
What is that? What am I missing there?
You want to be the
like you always
first.
want to be somebody's first love.
Okay.
It's always good to be the second wife,
Oh.
and it's always good to be the third realtor. You know.
So something that I do,
I like that.
and our office does, our Keller Williams in Boca Raton, we subscribe to a master statistician, and he creates charts for us monthly and quarterly. And one chart that he does is compare the 2019 market to this market, because the 2020 to 2023 market was crazy. It was a unicorn years, as we like to call it, and it kind of compares, and it shows you, is the market, all the real estate agents freaking out? Is it a slow market? Is it a dead market? Is it a normal market? So I want to go over what the pre-pandemic versus today's market compares. So active listings, September 2019, there was, for single family houses, 5,376. Today we have 4,177. So we have less inventory, right? Days on market, 71 days. This month, that was in 2019. In 2024, 58 days. So nobody was panicking in 2019 that houses weren't selling. They're like, that's just the market. Median listed sales price average in 2019 was 94%. In 2024, it's 93%, which is not much of a difference. So everybody freaking out. Oh, wait, last one. Failed listings, 32% in 2019, 45% in 2024, which just goes to show you that people still think it's the unicorn years, overpricing it, not marketing it correctly. So the market is kind of better than it was just 5 years ago, selling 2 weeks faster. It's just people haven't caught up to it.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. So we do, the Homes Jacuzzi team, we do what's called Feedback Frenzy, where twice a week we give feedback to our sellers. That forces us to dive into the data. And I have, we have a couple listings sitting too. But last week, that's what I did. I pulled up, Trend Graphics is something else Keller Williams offers us at our office. Trend Graphics is a stat tool too. And I showed them compared. You're like, this is so slow. And then last week I went to each one of them and I did Q1 through Q4, Q1 through Q3 of this year, and compared it to Q1 and Q3 of previous years before the pandemic. And we were better performing on all metrics levels. And I would say we're actually pretty good. Unfortunately, we're still thinking about recent years. So that's a very good point that you make. But the struggle on it for realtors, especially inexperienced ones, is if we're being real about it, they're avoiding the phone calls from the sellers when the sellers are saying, or they're dreading that call, what are you doing to sell my house? Because they don't really know what to say. They don't know the stats and data. They're not really marketing aggressively. They don't have good feedback follow-up skills, right? Yep. So this is when the skilled real estate agent who's been in the game during these periods prior to the unicorn years has a leg up, because we know how to communicate. We know how to provide service to our sellers to keep them happy. And this is why those discount brokers expire and don't re-sign, is because they don't know how to provide an experience for their clients throughout the process. So when it gets to a date to where it's about to expire and they ask their seller to extend it, the seller's like, well, I didn't even hear from you for 6 months. Like, why would I do that? And so I just think that's a very important, if newer agents or any agents are going to take away anything, at least from my segment of this, Allison made some awesome points, but from my segment of it, is to make sure you're providing feedback often to your clients and actually showing them what you are doing to sell their house. We have a guarantee that no one markets more on our team, meaning that if they find a listing that markets more than our listing, then we'll sell their house for free. But that forces us in a situation to always do more marketing than everyone else. And it also reminds the seller, hey, there's no one else better out there. They guarantee they're doing more. And I haven't found anyone else doing more because I want them to sell my house for free. And I haven't found it. And they're communicating with us twice a week with updates. So when that expiry date comes, and they'll more likely re-sign with you than not, because you did those things. So that's my little.
Where I don't feel the discount broker can offer those.
Oh, not even close. They not even
guarantees.
close. If they're not smart enough as business people to value what they are and what they provide and the experience they provide for the sellers, meaning they discount it, they're not. I hate saying the word smart, but maybe just not aware enough is the better word. Aware enough to be able to do those things, to be socially emotional aware of what's happening in the brains of their clients, to give them what they need so they don't leave them.
Right.
Like you, Allison, I walked away from a few deals this year where the seller just refused to really look at the data, take the professional opinion that I was giving them based off of all these points. I use chart masters, I use trend graphics to be able to give them this valuable information so that we can market their property the best way, so that we can really hit the market, with the ground running. But they didn't want to. And I had to really think, do I want to work with this person? And at this point, I was able to say, no, I do not. Yeah. So I think this is it. I'm in a great position in my career that I can walk away from these particular situations.
So I actually worked on my exit strategy for those people. Like, I want to walk away. So
tell me more.
Not like the I told you so, that they would have to come back and me say I told you so. Like, let's do, like, I was in a really nice way. Like, let's do this. I wish you like all of the best with this realtor. I will pray that you get this price, and I will watch your listing. But if it doesn't work out and you are seeking, maybe to give me a shot, I would love the opportunity to be your second realtor. Like I would, I'm going to sit and wait, and hope that it doesn't come to that. But if it does, like, please give me a call. Like, I would love to sell your house, So like, I'm prepping myself that, like, I'm gonna slide.
And they're gonna respect that. They're gonna respect you for that, Allison.
I walked away from a listing earlier this year because I felt it would sell in its current condition at around like $875, and they thought their house was worth like 1.2, 1.3, and I was, no way. So they signed with somebody that said that yes, they can get them that price, and I spoke to my broker Jackie and asked her, what would have been a good way to handle the situation. Her response was great. She told me this: next time, if somebody can guarantee them a crazy price, have the sellers tell their new agent, put it in the listing agreement that they won't ask them for a price reduction.
Ooh, I love that. Jackie has a lot of good tips.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that next time.
Or see if you can get a 3-month listing.
Or both.
Like, you want to sit at that high price for 6 months with that person?
Yep.
You know what's crazy? We have 12 minutes left, and we haven't even started talking about neither thing we were going to talk about today.
We're a bunch of yappers. That's why.
Talk about it.
I don't know if we have time, but I don't think.
Minutes.
Huh?
We have 12 minutes.
Alex and I did a podcast in 25.
Yeah, and we talked about a lot of stuff.
Lots of shit.
Oh, so Allison, I go on vacation on a Tuesday, and they did a podcast without me, and I'm like, oh, this is great. They're doing it. And then I went to, I have to like download this and edit it and re-upload it, and I'm looking at the timestamp. I'm like,
all right, so Allison, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on everything that's changed with the NAR?
Oh, really? You're just gonna leave it like that?
Okay, we're just gonna dive right in.
Okay.
Because I know that's what she wants to talk about. So
I love news in the world and how it affects real estate, and not very often does something of this magnitude come along in real estate. So this was something that I've been following for I think 4 years ago it started. I don't know if everybody else has been following it. And I love a good court case. I was a senior in high school, the OJ trial. I had my son a month before Casey Anthony. I'm always dialed into a court case. So I really followed this very heavily. So the case that I'm talking about is a group of home sellers in Missouri sued every big real estate brand, Keller Williams, Remax, Anywhere, which owns Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Corcoran, all the big the big names in real estate and the National Association of Realtors, which is the trade group that we all, are members of, stating that they felt like sellers were forced to pay the buyer's agent commission, and it wasn't fair that buyers should be paying their own realtor, and that sellers were forced into this and they got like ripped off, basically. It's called an antitrust case, was what it was. So I learned all about antitrust. I have a really good client who was an antitrust attorney for years, so he taught me all about antitrust and how that works. And then I followed the case, and before it even went to trial, like a lot of the big brands settled and didn't even go to trial. The National Association of Realtors went to trial with a few other big brands, and it's amazing that they lost. And that and that's the crazy thing with the United States, like as I was talking about Casey Anthony and OJ. So like, you really don't have to be innocent or guilty. Like, you did it or you didn't do it. You just have to prove something to a jury. So in this case, something was proven to a jury that realtors have been fleecing America by charging commissions the way that we do. So I don't know. I've been following it a lot, like since all the dust has settled. And I think there's going to be another big disruption, because I don't know that this attorney who started this case believes that we're even doing it right now. Like, he believes that commissions need to be like decoupled, like buyers pay their realtor and sellers pay their realtor. So I don't know if someone's going to, like, the DOJ who is like approving this. I don't know if someone's going to come back.
That's what my understanding is. The DOJ has been kind of spearheading this, and the
DOJ approved, the National Association of Realtors, after they lost, instead of appealing, they came to an agreement with the DOJ that we would move forward doing business this new way to handle this problem. And these are the two things that we're going to do moving forward to solve this issue of this lawsuit. And the two things are that anybody going to see a house or wants to look at real estate must retain a realtor and sign a buyer's agreement. And that buyer's agreement must have an offer of compensation in the agreement. So that's one thing that changed. And then the other thing is that they removed the offer of compensation from our MLS. So a lot of the public doesn't know that we historically, as members of MLS, can see stuff that the general public can't see. And usually when you'd go to show like 5 houses on a Saturday to somebody, you'd be able to see like, okay, 3 of these houses are paying me 3%, 2 of them are paying 2.5%, and maybe one's paying me 1%, because commissions are negotiable. And there's discounters out there, and there's full fee people, and there's, apples and bananas. So I don't know. So I don't know how this is going to all shake out. I'm like, waiting and watching. I'm, crossing my T's, dotting my I's, and I'm just curious what's in the future,
Yeah. What's going to be the new normal?
Yeah.
I think for now, new normal is almost business as usual, just like 5 more addendums that we all have to submit with our office.
I haven't noticed much change yet. Like, if you have, I suspect that my conversations that I have with the sellers, I have a listing appointment at 1:30 today that I'm going to go to, but I do pre-listing appointments, but we'll talk about that another day. Anyway, so what I'm having the conversation with all of them is they ask about this, and I said, yes, that is a thing. It's never really changed. And what do I mean by that is you always could have negotiated commissions on either side. There's nothing's changed. The problem is that most real estate agents weren't transparent about it. And a lot of some sellers, I should say a lot, but some sellers felt like they were forced or they were misled that they had to do something, which is odd. But anyways, maybe that was happening. I just can't relate to that. But
I'm sure there was a lot of. I'm sure the prosecutors used a lot of lab coat agents posts to as Exhibit A,
probably
Exhibit B, Exhibit
C. Oh God!
For most real estate right now, it's business as usual. But there's going to be a few things that consumers are going to find out as a result of this.
Yep.
So one thing that I think consumers are figuring out right now, which is unfortunate, is that, and this has maybe always been the case, but I believe as a home buyer, you should hire a realtor to represent your best interest.
Of course.
And not do what's best for your checkbook. Someone who's representing you can save you more than you think by hiring someone to represent your best interest. So it's very important to use a buyer's agent to look out for your best interest. Right now on the streets, consumers are hearing if you call the listing agent direct, you can save money because you cut out the buyer's fee.
Yep. I just had that happen.
And some
I just had that happen too.
listings aren't offering compensation to the buyer's agent. And if you fall in love with a house and you've signed an agreement with a buyer's agent saying maybe they're going to make 3% or 2.5%, or we're not supposed to talk about commission, 3 apples or whatever. So if you say, Chris, you want to buy a house, you're not a realtor, you sign an agreement with me, and you and your 5 kids and your wife want to go out and look at stuff on Saturday, and we find 8 houses, and you said, don't show me anything that's not paying commission because I don't have the money out of my own pocket to pay you direct. So, because that's what happens. If the seller isn't paying it, either the buyer has to pay it or you have to negotiate it as a part of the deal. So say your wife and your 5 kids, because you've got this big family, big friendly family, your wife said, you say, don't show me any houses that aren't offering compensation. And of the 8 houses, 7 of them are offering compensation, but 1 isn't. So I tell you in the morning, you told me don't show you anything that wasn't offering compensation. Well, the one house over there on 7th Avenue isn't offering compensation. And your wife's like, Chris, that's the one that we love. That's the one that has all the bedrooms and the yard and the pool, and that's the one that we love. I want to see that one, Chris. And you think your wife's hot. You said it earlier, and you love your wife, and you want happy wife, happy life. So you want to go see that one. And then we see it, and it's just as perfect as your wife thought it was going to be. And maybe you're a veteran. Maybe you're 100% financing, and you need the seller to pay closing costs. And we go see that house. You've served our country. You're a nice American guy. You got 5 kids. You have a beautiful wife. You love the house. The seller sees you on their ring cam. They're like, that family's gorgeous. They remind us of ours. We love them. Well, we write the strongest offer, waive inspection, cash, everything the seller wants. But we offer, they pay my compensation. And the seller says, I will accept this offer, but I will not pay your realtor's fee. What are you going to do? You're a veteran, you're 100% financing, and you need closing costs. How are you going to pay my fee? Now, do
you really think that the seller is going to say no over a couple $1,000? Like, even if they're only paying 1%?
It's not a couple thousand. Say the house is $1 million, $30,000.
Well, they wouldn't be a veteran then.
Well, so say it's $600,000.
It's semantics, Alex.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, they can't. No, I mean, I say that because the loan limits don't reach that high. What I'm saying is
the loan limit for veteran is now $600,000. So
okay, so 600,000. So say they're only willing to pay $6,000, right? Or 6 apples, 6,000 apples, whatever it is. And it would be up to Chris at that point, or you at that point, to say, all right, we found the perfect house. This works for me, whatever. And if they can't afford it, then they can't afford it. But no seller is going to say, I'm not paying a little extra out of pocket for the right offer. I mean, or you raise the price by $6,000 and get it back then.
There's a way. There's
always a way. I feel like
you can structure it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's always ways to structure it or make executive decisions.
So there's a bell curve on everything. In most situations, it greatly benefits the seller by offering a compensation to a buyer's agent, because if not, they may be excluded from that because the buyers don't want to come out with the extra cash. They're already coming out with down payment. They're already coming out with closing costs, repair costs, remodeling costs. They're already coming out all that money. To ask them to pay.
Look at it as like a financing charge. Look at it as a financing charge, right? For the buyer to get their money, they have to pay an origination fee, right, to the lender.
Yep. For
the seller to get their money in their pocket for selling their house, they have to pay an origination fee to the buyer's agent now. Just look at it like that way. You know what I mean? They're not making any money if they don't sell the house. So if they have to pay their agent to market the house and a buyer's agent to possibly get money, and they're willing to spend some sort of money, then great. But I don't see anybody saying no. I'm not selling my house because of this. Like, They're
It's
still
going to
making
suck
money.
for buyers agents when consumers start thinking to themselves, I'm nervous to sign this agreement because what if I fall in love with a house and the seller's just adamant about not paying my agent?
I would say, okay, a couple of things. When it comes to the buyer side of that, as a buyer's agent, I would have no problem. And thinking big picture wise, I would have no problem in some of those extremes of the bell curves where my buyers ended up, using me, but then ended up going with this house where I didn't get compensated of. Because
You'd take one for the team.
He's
yeah,
thinking big picture.
big picture wise, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, but if that became like a
obviously.
common thing, then it'll be a different story. But
Right.
in a market, when you're trying to market anything, any product, even whatever it is, this thing I've been playing with, whatever you're trying to market, you're trying to be the most attractive thing out there when you're competitively competing with other things like other houses. And
Especially in a down
anytime,
market like this.
yeah. So why would you
Especially.
sit there and go, hey, 8 of our competitors are willing to offer compensation, but we're not going to? Obviously, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Like,
And we want top dollar. And we want to pay the listing agent. I only want to pay you 2. All those things, they think that they're saving money, but they're not. It's like when I was growing up, my dad's like old school Italian, and every time he left the house, he would unplug like all the appliances because he thought he was saving 8 cents when we were gone. And I always sit there, I'm like, Dad, the hour you spent doing that, we could have done something else more productive of value. Like I remember always saying that. He still does that to this day. But that's what reminds me of some of these sellers. They're so worried about these little nickels here and there. They're missing the big
mindset too.
Scarcity mindset. They're so worried about that. They're missing the big picture. So in most cases, it's going to benefit them offering compensation. But let's be real. There's going to be some situations if you got like a banger house that there's just no competition, everyone's fighting over. You know what? That's very rare. That's happened maybe a handful of times in my career where the door was being knocked down. But that's usually also because the price, there was a exciting price involved too.
Yeah.
I mean,
But anyways,
if that law existed in like 2021 when our market was like bananas,
yeah, it's not common now.
Every buyer would have been paying their agent. I mean, you
Yep.
were given free post occupancy for 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Inspection. I mean, you would have been paying your agent.
What I always say to sellers too, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, and sometimes it can come off because we got to wrap this up. So I might be a little abrupt here, but I always tell them that money that you think you're losing on commission, you never earned it. You just rode the market. So what I mean is you didn't go to work and earn that. You bought a house and the market went up. You didn't do that. You didn't do. I know it sounds horrible, but you didn't do anything for it. It's not your money. Technically, you didn't work for it. You didn't put labor in.
Alex's stats, I love stats. The 2019 versus now. What was average price for single family 2019 versus now? And those people who whatever appreciation they've experienced also refied in 2% interest rates, and so they've made so much money just living in their house.
Absolutely.
Just living there. But what I say to them too, on the flip side, I'm like, what if the market crashed and you lost value? Was that your fault? Was that your doing? No. But you want to take credit when the market went up and say it's your money, but not your losses if the market crashed. Right. So, and then the second point I bring to them, and I'm being a little abrupt here because, just for rushing for out of time, I'm very more delicate in it when I talk to them about it.
You're still friendly.
But I'm so friendly. But what I say is they're like, well, I'm like, you see all these other houses selling for, 725, 715. And, they offer compensation. That price that you're getting is the commission is rolled into that price for all of those houses, and including yours if you make the correct decision. That's just part of the cost of doing business. So I don't know. I can go on and on about this, but that's what I've been preaching my people.
Definitely a conversation that can get dicey. There's a
Yes.
lot of
Put this on Reddit and watch how fast I get bashed.
You're just a realtor who wants to make money. Yeah,
this typical realtor, the greedy ass. He actually worked really hard for 20 years. They've been in the top 1%, but he still sucks. That's what Reddit is.
Well, the fact that the word discount broker was used, I'm sure lots of heads have rolled or I rolled.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Anyways, you ever go on Reddit?
No.
put some any real estate stuff in Reddit. It could be the most like intelligent, thoughtful thing. And oh my god, those vultures come out. I did like twice and I gave up. I'm like, these guys like.
You just gotta look
and
at
then
TikTok comments. That's
I
where
don't.
it's at.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
dude, you
Those are
can't.
brutal.
And anytime you put content out, even like a YouTube video, or whatever, you'll see the comments and you're just like, oh my god, how do you live in such anger? Or whatever.
Yep.
Angry society.
I feel everyone's energy level dipping. Plus, we're out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
that's
fun. Thank you so much for having me as a guest.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Enjoyed every bit of it.
Well, Allison, plug. You have a podcast called the podcast, right?
It's Go
What is it?
Ask Allison,
Oh,
which is a play on an old book called Go Ask Alice.
Ga.
I don't know if you've ever read it. Do you know it?
Uh,
I don't know if you're as old as me, but it was it's like a banned book, I think, and it was like very popular in the 70s and 80s.
you might have wanted R&D that before you did it. Just being friendly.
R&D.
Research and development.
Oh.
Like when McDonald's comes out with like a new meal of food, they had like R&D it with like sample sizes and test it and see if it works.
I think it's a great name.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, I mean, if somebody gets it, then I'm like, okay, you got a little cred in my book.
You get brownie points.
A funny thing. So it's a play on word, but it's Go Ask Allison, all things real estate. And I talk about real estate in East Delray, downtown Delray. So we have an episode on good restaurants to go to. I have an episode on rooftop bars, episode on the NAR settlement, all kinds
What
of
platforms are they on?
What?
What platforms?
Spotify, Apple Music, no YouTube. I don't usually get dressed up like you guys.
Oh, I'm just wearing a shirt. There's nothing under.
Yeah.
Those headphones are fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe I'll leave them.
No, Allison was fun. I don't know her all that well, but I can appreciate that you can, whenever you can banter with someone and they don't take us, seriously. We're back and forth in our text before and in this podcast. It just shows they're my type of people. You can take a punch and give a punch. I love it. It's fun. And so that's where you can find Allison. If you need to buy or sell a house in East Delray, call the Homes by Cusi team. And then, I'm just kidding, you can call Allyson Sullivan. And everywhere else, you can call Alex or the Homes by Cusi team. That'd be really helpful. Jen is everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, right?
That's right. I'm everywhere. Call me.
Konikoff. Same with Alex.
Sweet.
All right, guys. We will see you next week. See you. Oh, Allison, before we hang up, keep your browser on after we end this for like 10 minutes. So it uploads. Okay. All right. That's all.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
So don't go away. Can I leave?